Today is day number 2 of the United Nations Interfaith Harmony Week. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I actually posted something about that on the, or not pronounced that correctly, saying that correctly, excuse me, getting the term right. We are good. So I'm going to be talking about that today because, hold on just one second on the sheet before I switch. Okay, we're going to switch this to public now. Okay. Welcome. So yes, it is World Interfaith Harmony Week, an annual UN observance. The week of February 1st to 7th, I posted some stuff about this on Facebook because I do believe that we within Freemasonry actually have a very unique perspective on interfaith harmony. We are not, Freemasonry is not a religion. Freemasonry is not a faith, but it does have something to say about people of different faiths, different religions, different denominations, different persuasions, all working together in harmony. Good evening, Dylan. How's it going? Thank you for being here. But we're going to wait. We're going to talk about that in the next hour. The first hour, as always, we just hang out, wait to see who joins. I also want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to a gentleman by the name of Stephen Taylor, if I recall correctly. Let me just make sure I got his name correct. Yes, Stephen Taylor, who has preserved the information contained within the Parks Canada Register of Historic Places in a new location. If you have been paying attention to us at Square Compass Promotions, we have been talking about that a fair bit or fairly frequently. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that as well, his efforts to save that information, which saved information related to our building, my building, the Windsor Masonic Temple, which I love so much, my address, the place that I and Certain Compass Promotions kind of calls home, at least Masonically speaking, but other Masonic heritage places around the world. Good evening, Dylan. How are you? Or sorry, excuse me, around Canada. It's Canada specific. Good evening, Brother Courtney. Good afternoon, brother. So good evening, Dylan. Good afternoon, Brother Courtney. I hope you're both doing very well. I hope life is treating you good. We are back after a very fun weekend. I hope you all had a great weekend. We had a good one here, although we're dealing with a lot of snow, which is, as always, a pain in the butt. Another thing, I will be ending this stream at some point. I am expecting a phone call, which I kind of have to take. However, once the phone call is done, I'll come back on stream. So just be prepared for a potential break in the stream. But Brother Courtney, I'm glad you're doing well. How are things in Texas? Did you get hit? I was asking people, did you get hit with the snowstorm down there? And if so, are you okay? Are the Masonic Brothers okay? Is everybody doing okay? Because I heard that a lot of different states were hit pretty bad. I heard it was primarily in the Carolinas and kind of more the East Coast. But if any brothers are struggling in Texas, please let me know. And as always, if there are any Masonic efforts, charitable work, collecting donations, anything like that, I'd love to hear about it. And for the time being, we're just going to wait, hang out, see who wants to jump in the chat. Any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. I've been a Freemason for approximately 20 years here in Ontario. Currently the Worshipful Master of Border Cities Lodge, number 554. And for now, though, we're going to give it a bit of time. We're going to wait to see who jumps in the chat, who wants to say hello. Again, I may have to be jumping off of this stream early, but I promise I'll be coming back on. Also, 3 days from now, February 5th, I'm going to start the push-up challenge. 2,000 push-ups over Ooh, brother Courtney, thank you. It's incredibly kind of you. So it is still freezing. I hope that I hope you're doing okay. I hope that you're not too cold. If you know of any brothers who are struggling, please let me know. All right. But for the time being, for the first hour or so, we just hang out and wait to see who wants to jump in the chat to say hello. The second hour, I talk about, again, today's topics are going to be Freemasonry and World Interfaith Harmony Week, as well as Stephen Taylor's work in preserving the information contained within the Canadian Register of Historic Places. Vegan Dolls. I think you're new. I don't recognize that name. Thank you for being here. Please hit like and subscribe. You could do 2000 and do it with me. How about Vegan Dolls? Again, I'm going to be starting on February 5th. I'm going to start streaming my push-ups. It works out to about, I think, 100 per day, right? Which is about 20 days, if I recall it correctly. Let's see. So it's, oops, nope. Let me do that again. $2,000 divided by, I think it's 21 actually. So it's basically 95 per day, something like that. And we can do it. Hello from Serbia, Maskim. Thank you for being here. Nasta, hello from Russia. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll both be so kind as to hit that like and subscribe button. Do the push-ups with me. It'll be fun. February 5th. My plan is to start streaming the push-ups at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Darkness, happy birthday. Big C, you make the stream weird. I don't know why you do that. I feel like you have to be able to find better things to do in your life. So hello, no, I don't want to be quiet, but okay. I hope you're doing well nonetheless. All right, first, again, hour or so, give or take, we just hang out and chat, wait to see who joins. Second hour, we have our specific topics. So, and again, today is the second day of the United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week, which we'll talk more about shortly. We're just going to wait. Oh, we got some hearts. I think that's Smokey the Clown. I do not know what a Captain Jacks is, Ty Croc. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to Freemasonry, normally what they're referring to is the compasses, as in the 2 points that, the 2 points on the compasses you use to draw a circle, for example. Although the cardinal directions within Freemasonry are very important. So having said that, the idea of a compass as in a directional thing is very important to keep in mind as well. And certainly east, west, north, south are very important directions within Freemasonry. Captain Jack Sparrow. Oh, Captain Jacks. Okay. I was trying to figure it out. I was thinking like Cracker Jacks, as in a Cracker Jacks, as in a like a cereal. I got confused, but okay, I remember. Pirates of the Caribbean. Actually, Pirates of the Caribbean was on yesterday on television, and I really love that movie. I like Pirates of the Caribbean quite a bit. Probably some cool Masonic connections between them we could find out. No, Anime Bandit, it does not. Your name does not have to be Mason. I've known a few Masons called Mason. It's like a who's on first situation. By the way, Anime, Smokey the Clown, I'm looking forward to our next live stream. I was realized we're kind of screwed ourselves. Normally we do the 29th of every month. We can't do it this month because there's 28 days. So I'm assuming we will do our live stream together on February 28th, the Sunday, or Saturday, excuse me. Unless we write into somebody and ask them to make this a leap year. And we're going to finish it off together. We're going to do the last bit of our, push-ups for the 2,000 push-up challenge at the same time. So that should be a lot of fun. See if I can get this set up. I should have, I guess it'd be about 100 left, something like that. Let me just double check. The push-up challenge. It's for mental health. Let me just see. February 5th to 27th. I guess according to this, I did not know, but it is 2,000 push-ups in 23 days. It's 2,000 push-ups representing the approximately 2,000 lives lost to suicide each day worldwide. So I did not know that's the reason they got the 2,000 for. Throughout the challenge, participants of all ages and abilities push up while learning about mental health, with the number of daily push-ups changing to reflect a vital mental health fact. If completing 2,000 push-ups feels out of reach, participants can choose exercise alternatives such as sit-ups, squats, or tailored exercise with progress tracked through a dedicated app. Okay. Nice. Class just started. You know what else has just started? Hitting the like and subscribe button. That's what should have started. Okay. And by the way, I know that we're saying, I know that we are saying, by the way, Smokey and I will be doing our stream together on the 28th, but we were talking on our last one about maybe inviting some other people to take part as well. So, maybe if other people want to consider joining us on the stream, if not in February, then maybe in March. We can get Courtney on there. We can get Mr. Keeps on there. Maybe my dad wants to join. Could be fun. Class just started. Never, you guys suck. Who are you guys? Who be you guys? To which you refer. Who are these you guys of which you speak? Nice. It'd be fun to have you. I mean, I know we had you before on our members exclusive live stream. By the way, I'm still going to be doing some more member exclusive content very soon, so be prepared for that. It'll be a lot of fun. So, pay attention if you're a member, either on Patreon or on YouTube. Please make sure you pay attention, because we will absolutely be doing a special, we'll absolutely be performing and doing a special members exclusive live stream coming up very soon. So just follow us on social media for all of that. Brother Courtney, that is awesome. Yeah, it would be very fun to have you as a part of it. I just have to figure out how to do it, because I know mobile streaming, you can have two people mobile streaming at the same time, which is going to be awesome. But if it's more than two, I think you need to use streaming software, or I think you can use Zoom and somehow connect them all through Zoom. Yes. I mean, if you can't do it on February 28th, then I will make sure to do it for the March 29th mutual stream. We can both do it. Either way, we'll get it done. But it could be fun to have 4 or 5, 6 guys all at once. I'm sure I'll be the ugliest person on the stream. I mean, we've all seen Smokey. He's way more handsome than I am, so Whenever I'm streaming with Smokey the Clown, I'm already the ugliest person on the stream. We're just hanging out for now. As always, we just wait to see who joins, wait to see who wants to talk. No specific discussion points. Rather, it's just anybody who wants to chat about anything, please let me know. Again, positive, negative, or neutral about Freemasonry. Once we get to an hour in, we're going to switch over and start on our specific topic, which is going to be Interfaith Harmony Week, United Nations Interfaith Harmony Week, which I'm looking forward to discussing. Freemasonry is not a religion, it's not a faith. It does, however, have a lot to say about interfaith harmony. We'll talk about how and why that is coming up. This guy's back. He was gone for so long. IRL Yuzu 433. Hello, how's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. I think you're new to the stream. This channel is about Freemasonry. I've been a Freemason for about 20 years, which is crazy to think it's been that long. I hope you'll consider hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and I hope that you're doing well. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know, positive, negative, or neutral. If you want to become a Patreon member or a member of the channel, do a super chat, all that jazz. But yeah, I've been a Freemason for 20 years. Thank you. That's much appreciated. I'm just going to call you 433. I do live streams with some other people on this channel every now and then, like with Smokey the Clown, with Brother Courtney. Like I said, we're considering doing a live stream together. However, the problem with that is if we do a live stream together, I'm going to be the ugliest person on the live stream because, Smokey the Clown and Courtney are way more handsome than I am. So I don't know if I want to do it or not anymore. With my dad, that's one person at least I'm more handsome than is my dad. So at least I will be slightly more handsome. But if you want to join us, Dad, we're considering doing a live stream together. Smokey, Mr. Keeps, you, me, Smokey, Courtney, Spurs, just a bunch of people who are here. So I don't think I'm smart, IRL. I do think that I have a lot of knowledge about Freemasonry. I also think I'm a pretty good communicator, but don't ask me to solve any math equations because I can't do that to save my life. I think everybody's smart in certain ways, right? I think that's the key. One of my favorite quotes from Einstein, everybody's smart, or every animal is intelligent, but if you ask a fish to climb a tree, then it will think it's stupid. So I've always liked that as a quote. It's also Black History Month. I believe in the United States. I know for sure here in Canada. I was thinking of touching on that at some point. We have the month to do so, but certainly, for example, you could talk about I can't think of his name now. Prince Hall Freemasonry, a very important part of Freemasonry and our Masonic family. And I did want to mention again, I may have to be ending this stream abruptly. However, I will restart it because I've just got to take a phone call. And unfortunately, the one time they could do it was today during the stream. So don't worry if I end this stream abruptly. Don't be alarmed. I will be restarting it very soon. Common sense is not so common, Smokey. So good for you. So IRL, do you have any questions about Freemasonry? Any thoughts, any comments? Again, positive, negative, or neutral. Oh, and I also mentioned I am now on Upscrolled. So if you, it's like a TikTok. Oh, thank you, Brother Courtney. That's incredibly kind of you, but please don't give me, I appreciate it. And obviously I'll take all the money anybody can give me. However, make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. Make sure you're putting yourself first. Because just your support of being here and sharing, commenting, liking, all that stuff is majorly helpful. Having said that, I'm grateful. Well, patiently happy, that's a very cruel thing to do. So that makes me sad that you would do that, even if you're just trolling and joking. It makes me sad that you would troll and joke about that. This week is religious, um, religious or interfaith harmony week. Good, Brother Courtney. I'm happy for that. All right, patient happy. I'm going to put you in a timeout. The again, this is United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week, and so a big part of that is being respectful of different people's faiths, their traditions, their beliefs, their denominations, their persuasions, and Freemasonry has always been an incredibly important part of that, or it's kind of led the way in demonstrating how they can be done, which we're going to talk about very soon. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess YouTube would be very boring without trolls. We can put it that way, right? Imagine a YouTube without trolls, how terribly dull and boring that would be. Um, we are hanging out, though, again, 40 minutes in, or sorry, we're 20 minutes in now. Another 40 minutes, we'll start on the main topic, which again is going to be United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week. But for now, just chillaxing. By the way, Smokey, is today one of your days off work? Because I feel like normally you're working all the time. So if you did get a day off, then take advantage of it. Don't just be hanging out with me, for heaven's sakes. Good. Well, I'm glad you're having a great time. Smokey or Courtney, I'm glad you're here. I got my awesome cappuccino, although I may have to actually take a break a little bit earlier than I thought to run to the washroom. Oh, well, I'm sad that you are sick. I'm happy that you got sent home, so at least you can recover. Because being sick is one of those things where basically all you can do, right, is just give it time. I mean, talk to your doctor if it lasts too long or whatever it is, but you give yourself time, you drink lots of water, you rest, and you try to feel better. I think in some ways the most important thing you can do is give yourself time. Don't try to rush the process, talk to a doctor, etc., etc. Are you still as swamped as you have been? Because I know you were saying like you were absolutely swamped the last couple of days. You're welcome, Brother Courtney, and thank you to you as well for, again, being such a good supporter, not just of this channel, but I understand you watch some other Masonic podcasts as well, and we're grateful for that also. And also, all your efforts and your work within Freemasonry, joining all that stuff, it's awesome. So keep up the good work yourself. Spirit of Justice, how's it going for you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. Well, I mean, hopefully people can find a way to believe that their faith is the best while also accepting that everybody will believe that of their faith. So like the example I usually give is it's like patriotism. I've said it a million times. I think Canada is the greatest country in the world. I have no problem saying that at all. However, I can also completely understand and accept that somebody from America will believe America is the greatest country in the world. Or, somebody from England or Germany or whatever it is. And that's perfectly fine, right? It's kind of like the world's best dad t-shirt. If I buy a world's best dad, t-shirt for my dad, that doesn't mean that nobody else gets to buy that shirt or my dad is literally the best. Rather, it's more about your perspective and how you view the world and how how much you love your dad. But the point is, You can hold two differing opinions at the same time, for whatever it's worth. And that's something I think we've lost the ability to do, right? It's this idea of like, yeah, you can believe, for example, your particular faith or denomination is the right one or the best one, but you can also understand and accept that everybody may have that point of view, and it's not anybody's place to judge it. Spirit, honestly, we could have, I assume by special you mean handsome, Alex. We got to get Spirit of Justice in our live stream. Spirit, we're considering doing a live stream with a bunch of different people from these streams, like the Square and Compass audience, all together, all on YouTube at the same time. Not on this channel, but on my personal channel or on Smokey the Clown's YouTube channel. You're a longtime watcher. You could be one of them. Longtime audience member. I own my own business, which is called Square and Compass Promotions, which promotes the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. So I hope that you'll hit that like and subscribe button and help a brother out. And yeah, I hope that you are doing very, very well. I try to be professional. I definitely want to succeed. Yes, Spirit. I hope you'll subscribe to it. I thought you knew. It's youtube.com/Cameron Adamson. YouTube.com/CameronAdamson. All one word. That's my personal account. On those streams, on those channels, I just hang out, talk about whatever it is. I don't have any specific topics or discussion points. Rather, I just hang out. Sometimes I talk about scary movies that I love. Sometimes I talk about, there's a million different things. Primarily, it's scary movies. Sometimes it's exercise stuff. Sometimes it's just hanging out. Used to do midnight movie watch-alongs, which I may try to do again. So yeah, lots of different things on that channel. Oh, I'm sorry about that. My condolences to the Grand Master. Thank you, James. Joshua. So it's youtube.com. Here, let me put it in the chat so you guys can find it. It's at Cameron Adamson. youtube.com/@Cameron Adamson. I also, by the way, have Twitch. I've got Discord. I've got a bunch of social media sites. I always try to make sure to remind people of those as well, just because I want people to be following me on social media, especially if I have anything exciting going on or new going on or whatever it is. It really helps to follow me on social media so you know what's going on. But James, how is it going for you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. And for now, I'm just waiting to hang out, see who joins. As I noted, if I have to end this stream abruptly, I will be back. I just have to take a phone call. And unfortunately, this was the exclusive time that they could call me. So we're not promoting, I guess it's because current Compass Promotions, in fairness, we are promoting the ways that Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as stories of Masonic interest. These live streams are a bit more loose. The first hour or so, I just hang out, take questions from the audience, take questions from the chat, talk to people, whatever they want to talk about, chat about. Then the second hour, I have more specific content. In this case, we're going to be talking about United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week, how it affects Freemasonry, or what Freemasonry has to say about interfaith harmony, as well as talking about the Canadian Register of Historic Places, the information therein, which does actually affect Freemasonry. But for now, we're going to hit the like. We're just going to wait to see who joins. The first hour, just hanging out. So And Willie or Wally, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I'd very much appreciate it. And we are, for the moment, though, hanging out again, waiting until another half hour before we start on the main topics. So. And yeah, I do hope everybody had a excellent weekend. There's a bunch of stuff, by the way, still coming up. The first hour, again, it's really dependent on how many people are here and what we want to talk about. But I do like to give people a chance to find the stream and just hang out because, again, I do find there's so many questions people have about Freemasonry that it's fun to wait and see who jumps on, especially and unfortunately with what's happening right now. The Epstein files, all that jazz, a lot of, even though, not just that, but conspiracy theorists in general, like Candace Owens has been saying a whole bunch of stuff about Freemasonry. She posted something about us not that long ago, which was negative. There's so many conspiracy theories floating around about Freemasonry right now online that I find I want to dedicate the first hour to seeing who jumps on and who wants to talk. And if we do get conspiracy theorists, people who've been listening to Candace Owens, people who are connecting Freemasonry to, I don't know, the Epstein files, which does happen, even though the two have nothing to do with each other. Whatever it might be, it's good to talk to them and try to at least disabuse them of their ideas and point out to them why they are incorrect or what makes them incorrect. Right? Because if the only things you know about Freemasonry are what you see on social media, and if your social media channels are all conspiracy theories, Candace Owens, I can't think of his name now, Alex Jones, well, then you're going to have a very incorrect, false, wrong view of Freemasonry. So it's important that I be here to answer questions from people and try to, again, disabuse them of those ideas as best I can. Monkey Wrench Studios. Oh my gosh, 30 to 50 centimeters of snow. We do have a Friday the 13th this month, and I love Friday the 13th. I love those movies, so I think that is awesome myself, or awesome personally. I am not a big fan of Candace Owens either, Spirit of Justice. Unfortunately, she is popular with a lot of people, and if all you know about Freemasonry is what you're seeing from her, then, it's really unfortunate because you're going to end up with people having very incorrect, wrong thoughts, ideas, views on Freemasonry. So we have to do our best to fight back against that. And that's why I try to leave the first hour open to anybody who jumps on and anybody who has any thoughts on Freemasonry. And then my 1 a.m. streams, those, honestly, the entire stream is me just taking questions. For whatever reason, my audience is like me, a bunch of night owls, and as a result, I tend to get a lot of people showing up at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monkey Wrench Studio, thank you for being here. National Treasure was fiction, however, it's a great movie, and it's one I really enjoy. I do believe it got some of the philosophies of Freemasonry correct. For example, our dedication to things like democracy, our desire to make the world a better place, to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. The fact that the detective, who was a good person, was a Freemason, I really appreciated. However, by the same token, we don't know, we don't have any buried treasure anywhere or anything like that. So That is not true. I wish we did have buried treasure. It'd make life a lot more fun, that's for sure. Um, yes, I did. I did get a haircut. I do too. I mean, I like National Treasure. I've never seen the sequel. I really should at some point. I really should watch the sequel, but I haven't got around to it yet. But I did really like the original National Treasure quite a bit. So there is that. It's aerodynamic because I'm in a wheelchair, right? So if not for this haircut, the wind just pushes on me and I can't go anywhere. So it's the aerodynamic nature of it that's really important. Thank you though. Yeah, I'm give a shout out to my barbers. Honestly, because I'm on television on people's YouTube screens so often, I feel like I should be I feel like I should be asking for like counting my haircuts as a business expense in order to cover them or something on my taxes. How much time I spend here? Well, Hitler banned Freemasonry. I mean, it was the Nazi Party, right? It was the entirety of it, including Hitler. Whether he believed it or not, I have no idea, or whether he was simply using it as a convenient boogeyman to, push forward his crazy ideas. But he tied Freemasonry to Judaism, which it's not. I mean, Freemasonry is not a religion. It welcomes Jewish members, as many others. But I think it was in Mein Kampf, he wrote it for the first time. He connected Freemasonry to Judaism, claimed they were both part of the same group, attempting to both take over the world and undermine Germany and undermine German citizens. Again, whether he actually believed that, I don't know. It's also very possible he just knew that in order to successfully, in order to successfully take over a country politically, he needed to invent enemies and boogeymen and adversaries that he could unite the people of Germany against. Freemasonry made a natural target because it is a private society, because it's men gathering to speak freely amongst one another. It's democratic in its nature, right? All of these ideals, democracy, freedom, privacy, these are not ideals that go well in a totalitarian state or a fascist regime. So it would make sense that Hitler would want the Freemasons to not exist. So yeah, that is my thought on that. Lion, usually I know it's not okay. Hello, Lion. He didn't just ban it in Germany either. Anywhere that Freemasonry was, anywhere that the Nazis went, Freemasonry was banned, right? So when they were in France, it was banned, etc., etc. That absolutely did also affect Freemasonry in a lot of ways, or affected Freemasons in many ways, because they became incredibly hesitant to discuss Freemasonry in Europe for obvious reasons. Certainly, if you lived in France, if you lived in Germany, if you lived in Italy, and Freemasonry was banned in your neck of the woods, well, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to become very wary of discussing your Masonic connections in public, especially because you might be concerned it will happen again, right? If it happened once and a totalitarian government came into power and banned Freemasonry and, persecuted Freemasons and actually put Freemasons into concentration camps, are you really going to be comfortable necessarily speaking about Freemasonry or your Masonic connections again? Lion, thank you for being here. Yes, it is the 250th anniversary of America. It's definitely, I think, worth saying congratulations. Obviously, America is going through some challenging times right now, but I still think it's an incredible country. I've said it before. Canada is the greatest country in the world, in part because we have, in my opinion, the greatest neighbors in the world. Um, and so, nothing but respect. I mean, certainly, as we are getting closer to July 4th, I'll be talking more about the history of, Canada, sorry, the history of America as relates to Freemasonry, the presidents who were Freemasons, the important Masonic figures in American history, some of the ways that I think that Freemasonry, some of the ways that I believe Freemasonry helped, kind of set the tone for what America would become and what America is. So yeah, I look forward to discussing that. Building together UGLE, focus on making lodges more vibrant and relevant for members of tomorrow, as we should, as we absolutely should. United Grand Lodge of England is doing some pretty incredible work with that. So nothing but respect to them and all their efforts. We're going to give this another 20 minutes. Then we're going to wait to see who wants to jump in the chat, who wants to say hello. Again, any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. 20 more minutes, we're going to start talking about the main subject today, which again is Freemasonry and religious tolerance. By the way, raised eyebrow. Thank you for being here. All-seeing eye. Nobody can see your stuff because YouTube banned it except for me, or YouTube blocked it except I can see it. But you seem like a very not good person, and also, especially saying that during United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week. Let's try to get along with everybody, including those of different beliefs, different ethnicities, different races, different religions. Not the worst thing in the world to try to get along with others and not assume the worst of our fellow citizens, shall we say. The Illuminati is not meeting Wednesdays. The Illuminati does not exist anymore. Welcome, Raj of God. Once again, we're going to give it another 20 minutes, and we're going to start on the main subject today, which is Interfaith Week and Freemasonry. Hopefully soon, because I've been waiting. I've been waiting for a long time, Raj of God, and they still haven't shown it to me yet. So that makes me very sad. And raised eyebrow, how is it going for you? Have you managed to deal with with all the snow in your neck of the woods? Because you said you were digging out, and it was quite a lot of snow. So I hope you managed to dig out successfully. Dream Seeker, I'm doing well. Like I said, I've still got your coin. So if you ever do decide you want me to mail it to you, just let me know. Or if you still want to wait until you're done the painting, and then we can, we'll just trade at that point. We can do that as well. Oh, yeah. I mean, I got stuck a couple days ago in a pretty nice snowbank because the snow was brutal. Like, trying to get around when they haven't cleaned the snow is a pain in the butt. Okay, sounds good. I appreciate that. Secret combinations. So ethic plays. I have a little bit, Brother Courtney. I may be getting some of those for Christmas. So I'll let you know, but there's a very good chance I'll be getting some of those for Christmas. Once I know for sure, I'll let you know. Um, so Jason Shank, I'll be tuning in, my guy. That is awesome. Thank you for that. Yes, it is still freezing here as well, raised eyebrow. Um, so ethic plays. Why do you say that Freemasonry is, or sorry, secret combinations? Now, I think when you said that, what you meant to say is secret organizations or secret societies are an affront to God. Why do you say that? Because I can say for myself personally, first of all, Freemasonry is not a secret society or secret organization. It is a society that has private elements to it, but that's not the same thing as being a quote unquote secret society. So, why do you say that? What makes you think that that's what Freemasonry is? We could use it, especially for those of us in wheelchairs, by the way. Awesome, Dream Seeker. Well, I'm keeping it here. Like I said, if you ever want the coin, though, earlier, it's yours. You know, you've done it. You're a Patreon, so you've earned it. So whenever you want it, just let me know. But I absolutely think those it'd be awesome to do a bookmarks. It's a good idea. We're just going to hang out for another 13 minutes, wait to see who else joins. I'm doing well, Burz Amanalar. How are you doing? Thank you for being here also. I hope you're doing well. I hope you'll take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. And yeah, let me know how you're doing. Seabass, I think you're new to the stream. I don't know if I've seen that name before. If an organization has secrets that are revealed only to initiates under oath, by definition, it's a secret society. I mean, fair enough. If you want to call it a secret society, I don't get too shirty, if that's the right word, about the definitions of these things. I tend not to be a fan of calling it a secret society because so much of it is open to the public and not private. And also, just people tend to conflate anything private with kind of negative connotations, which I don't know why. Or sorry, anything secret with negative connotations. Like they understand, for example, most people would not say that their bank account information or their social insurance number is private, is secret, but they would say it's private. People tend to understand that there are valid reasons to keep things private, valid, non-concerning reasons to keep information private. However, people tend to view the term secrecy or secrets with much more suspicion. So I tend to prefer to say Freemasonry is an organization with private elements, not secrets. I got a bunch of tattoos. I got these here. If you follow me on social media, you should be able to see them all because I always post them. And I got these up here. And then I got this one here. So I got a whole bunch. Nice. Good for you, Brother Courtney. Keep up the good work. Having a Masonic library is a really great thing. And I hope you're maybe adding to your Masonic library with your own personal work, specifically your Masonic journals. Right? I always suggest that Masons keep a Masonic journal. I find that it makes things, makes the Masonic career, makes the Masonic experience a lot better. I always Try and shy away from the word secret, more private, definitely. Good. That's awesome to hear. Uh, that you're keeping your Masonic journal. Yeah, again, I try not to use the term private either. I try to use the term secret. Sorry, other way around. I try not to use the term secret. I try to use the term private, excuse me. Don't use the word secret, use the word private, because people understand there are legitimate, non-suspicious reasons to keep something quote unquote private. People have more suspicion around the word secret. Absolutely raised eyebrow. That's the point, right? Again, the family recipe idea that I use so frequently. If you've got a recipe, if you've got a recipe that is meant to be for your family exclusively, then is it a secret society, your family, because you have the family recipe? The only way you get it is if you marry in or whatever, or born into it? Or is it just private information? Right? Because that's always. Oh, my page has a lot of those links, Jason, but let me leave them with you here. So first of all, oops. Oh my gosh, what did I do? There we go. So youtube.com/@CameronAdamson. That's my other main YouTube channel. You can find me on Twitch, Square Compass Promotions. You can find me on Instagram, square_compass_promotions. So those are just some of the sites. My other YouTube channel, though, is @CameronAdamson. Yeah, exactly. Country Club or Private Business, that's a very good way to look at it. 8 more minutes, then we're going to start on today's topic, Interfaith Week. Actually, I'm going to make that the poll question. Are you doing anything to celebrate Interfaith Week? Oops, if I could actually print stuff. And by the way, if this gives you any ideas, then, maybe bring. So if you're a Mason, for example, and you're just learning about the fact that it's Interfaith Week, maybe bring it up to your lodge, discuss it with your lodge. Discuss the benefits of it, the value of doing it. Maybe consider doing a presentation in your lodge about different times when Freemasonry has welcomed men of faith that were, being ignored or being discriminated against in other areas. Could be Indigenous or First Nations faith or groups, could be Jewish people, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Freemasonry in different countries with different majority religions. Might be an interesting presentation to do. You could put together one of 5 minutes or so. Would be very, very quick. Bandit as well. Bandit is down here at my feet, at my wheels at the moment. If I can get Bandit, I'll let you see her. Oh, no, I couldn't grab her. Come here. But she's doing good. No, I can't reach her. She's being a pain. Come on, Courtney wants to see you. No, she's not being easy at the moment to get a hold of. All right, well, I tried my best. She's gone far away. And I used the term celebrate in the post. I could have used the term note, commemorate, observe, right? Doesn't have to be a celebration per se. Sure, that's a good one. Yeah, copyrights. Secrecy is incidental to a family recipe. Well, I would say by definition, it's pretty necessary, right? if your family recipe wasn't secret, then it wouldn't be a family recipe by definition. It would just be a recipe. It might be a recipe that originated with a particular family, but once it's public and once everybody has it, by definition, I'd say it's no longer a family recipe. Um, I mean, I don't know anything about the Seventh Day Adventists. I don't know anything about Ellen White, Jason Bender. So I have no idea. Um, if Bandit could talk, all she would say, Jason, is give me food and leave me alone. I'm pretty sure is what my cat would say. But that's true for every cat, which is why I love them. So yeah, I can't speak to that. Maybe she could have been an Eastern Star. She could have been a member of the Order of Women Freemasons. Maybe, though it was not super popular. I do not know anything about this person though. So, or for that matter, Seventh Day Adventist. Other than, to my knowledge, if you're a Seventh Day Adventist, um, you could probably be a Freemason because I believe they believe in a supreme being, based on my knowledge. So it's a type of faith, but I can't speak to the specifics of it. So, where is she? Where is Ellen White from? Is Seventh Day Adventism, is that an American? I was going to say creation. Was that formed in America, started in America? Bradley Bear. I do not know what that is. I do not know what an IMBOLC is, but I do hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. I think you're new to the stream. I don't remember if I've seen your name before. So hit like, hit subscribe, and thank you so much for joining. Welcome, Samantha, and welcome from Australia. I love Australia. I say I love Australia. I've never been to Australia. However, I know there's a lot of Freemasonry in Australia. That's what this channel is about. I think Australia has a really cool Masonic history to it. I'd love one day, if I had the money, to go and visit a Masonic lodge in Australia. I think that'd be really, really cool. So hopefully one day I get the chance. There's a lot of really cool Masonic buildings. By the way, Samantha, I hope you'll hit the like button. I hope you hit the subscribe button. So World Interfaith Week is a United Nations observance, the 1st to the 7th of February every year, but this year, February 1st to 7th, 2026. It is a day, amongst other things, to, I'll get the exact wording here. Right. Provides a platform when all interfaith groups and groups of goodwill can show the world what a powerful movement it is to be welcoming of people of different faiths and beliefs. A focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize that the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities. That is a very Masonic sounding statement, and you'll learn why in about 3 minutes. So, thank you, Bradley Bear. Yes, I am. So Master Mason can mean a couple of different things, right? It can mean third degree Mason, which I am. It can also mean worshipful master of a lodge. Some people do use it that way. I am currently the worshipful master of Border Cities Lodge number 554. And I've been a past worshipful master as well. Okay. Hello, homie. Thank you for being here. So Samantha, you can be a Christian and a Freemason. In fact, many Christians are Freemasons. Freemasonry is not a religion. We have members of all different faiths and beliefs, from Muslim, Christianity, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh. It's a civic organization or a civic group. It is not a religion, but it welcomes men of all different faiths, including Christian. Well, you're welcome to be here, and I do appreciate you being here very much, very much. I thought that she worked in Australia for exactly two. I heard that she worked in Australia for exactly 2 days and then quit and then gallivanted around Australia, causing who knows what type of trouble. If you could go back in time, you can be a Catholic and a Freemason, Seabass. That's no trouble at all. Now, the Catholic Church has their own views on that, and I can't speak for the Catholic Church. What I can say is, within Freemasonry, if somebody is Catholic and wants to join, that's no impediment to them being a Freemason. Again, whatever the Catholic Church may say, that's on their end, not on our end. Oh, Junior Warden, the toughest job within Freemasonry, toughest office within Freemasonry. Good on you. Much respect. Trying to prepare the food for a bunch of different Masons, considering things like dietary restrictions, all that stuff. It can be very challenging. So good on you. Good for you. And thank you for being here. But yes, you can be Catholic and a Freemason. All right, so I guess we're going to start on the topic. Now, again, I did mention this before. I may have to leave the stream somewhat suddenly because we're expecting a phone call. And the one time they could call me was during this stream. So I may be ending this stream early, or stopping this stream or pausing this stream. However, I promise you I will be back on shortly there. And so I'll give a quick note. Peace out and then come back. So this is the World Interfaith Harmony Week. It is an annual United Nations observance of the week of February 1st to February 7th, every year. But this year, as every year, February 1st to February 7th, 2026. The World Interfaith Harmony Week was first proposed at the United Nations General Assembly on September 23rd, 2010, by H.M. King Abdullah II of Jordan. Just under a month later, on October 20th, 2010, it was unanimously adopted by the UN. Henceforth, the first week of February is observed as the World Interfaith Harmony Week. The World Interfaith Harmony Week is based on the pioneering work of the Common Word Initiative. This initiative, which started in 2007, called for Muslim and Christian leaders to engage in a dialogue based on two common fundamental religious commandments, love of God and love of neighbor, without nevertheless compromising any of their own religious tenets. The two commandments are at the heart of the three monotheistic religions, therefore provide a solid theological ground. I would say they're at the heart of almost every religious faith. The World Interfaith Harmony Week extends these two commandments by adding love of God and love of neighbor. This formula includes all people of goodwill, including those of other faiths or different faiths. The World Interfaith Harmony Week provides a platform 1 week a year when all interfaith groups and other groups of goodwill can show the world what a powerful movement they are. That's a great name. I love the name Harmony. The thousands of events organized by these groups often go unnoticed, not just by the general public, but also by other groups themselves. This week will allow for these groups to become aware of each other and strengthen the movement by building ties and avoiding duplicating each other's efforts. It is hoped this initiative provides a focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities. The resolution, I'm just going to read this, the full resolution, and then I'm going to talk about how this applies to Freemasonry. But this is the World Interfaith Harmony Week Resolutions, United Nations General Assembly, Article 65, paragraph 34. The General Assembly, recalling its resolutions, 53-243 of 13 September 1999, on the Declaration and Program of Action relating to a culture of peace, 57-6, November 4th, concerning promotion of culture, peace, and nonviolence, 58-128 of December 2003 on the promotion of religious and cultural understanding, harmony, and cooperation, a global agenda for dialogue among civilizations and the alliance of civilizations, the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue, understanding, cooperation, and peace, and on the elimination of all forms of intolerance and discrimination based on religion or belief, recognizing the imperative need for dialogue among different faiths and religions in enhancing mutual understanding, harmony, and cooperation among people, recalling with appreciation various global, regional, and sub-regional initiatives on mutual understanding and interfaith harmony, including the Tripartite Forum on Interfaith Cooperation for Peace and the Initiative for a Common Word, recognizing that the moral imperatives of all religions, convictions, and beliefs call for peace, tolerance, and mutual understanding, reaffirms that mutual understanding and interreligious dialogue constitute important dimensions of cultural peace, proclaims the first week of February of every year the World Interfaith Harmony Week between all religions, faiths, and beliefs, encourages all states to support on a voluntary basis the spread of the messages of interfaith harmony and goodwill in the world's churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, and other places of worship during that week based on love of God and love of one's neighbor, or on love of the good and love of one's neighbor, each according to his or their religious traditions or convictions, requests the Secretary General to keep the General Assembly informed of the implementation of the present resolution. Thank you, Samantha. That's incredibly kind. Also, check out Dream Seeker's stuff. He has a great channel. You can sub to him. I appreciate all the support. And thank you all for being here. Yes, and like and subscribe. So, I just read out the United Nations Interfaith Harmony Week resolution, as well as a brief, briefly its history. Again, I want to go back and emphasize this section from the World Interfaith Harmony Week website. It is hoped that this initiative will provide a focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize that the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities. Right? One more time. It is hoped that this initiative will provide a focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize that the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities. So the reason I mention that, and now I want to go on to the connection between this and Freemasonry. Freemasonry is not a religion, nor is it a faith. However, it is absolutely a group or an organization that I think reflects historically and in modern times the ability for people of different faiths, different beliefs, different persuasions, different denominations to gather together in unity and in harmony and work together for the common good. And in fact, this is something I've really been concerned about lately, because I've had people on these streams say to me something to the effect of, how can Freemasonry work with people of different faiths? Or how can an organization welcome men of different faiths into the lodge? And that really scares me, because I had always grown up, and this is thanks to people like my father, school, the culture in which I was raised, to understand that just because someone is Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever their faith is or beliefs is, we can work with them. We can treat them as neighbors, as family, as friends, as brothers, and as part of our tribe, part of our family, part of our brotherhood. And this is a Masonic tradition that goes all the way back to 1723 and even earlier, right? And this is something I posted on social media as well as on my Facebook, YouTube, a few other sites. The World Interfaith Harmony Week is an annual UN observance taking place February 1st to 7th. Freemasonry is not a religion, nor is it a faith. It is an organization that welcomes those of all different faiths and religious denominations and persuasions into a brotherhood of mutual respect, kindness, and those Masonic virtues of brotherly love, relief, and truth. As yesterday is the start of Interfaith Harmony Week, it is appropriate to post this section from the 1723 Anderson Constitution, which is a founding document within Freemasonry, or my third piece within Freemasonry, that expresses the Masonic goal of living in harmony and working in harmony with those of various denominations and persuasions or faiths. A Mason is obliged by his tenure to obey the moral law, and if he rightly understands the art, he will never be a stupid atheist nor an irreligious libertine. But though in ancient times Masons were charged in every country to be of the religion of that country or nation, whatever it was, yet 'tis now thought more expedient only to oblige them to that religion in which all men agree, leaving their particular opinions to themselves, that is, to be good men and true, or men of honor and honesty, by whatever denominations or persuasions they may be distinguished, whereby Masonry becomes the center of union and the means of conciliating true friendship among persons that must have remained at a perpetual distance. Yes, although in fairness, hello, Mr. Keeps, by the way, welcome. Thank you for being here. I will say again, like I suspect, Mr. Keeps, and I'm not like singling you out because I think a lot of people would feel this way about me. My suspicion is most people who have any type of religious background may in some ways consider my views to be atheistic. Again, I've described before my belief in a supreme being is best understood as the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry and science. I do think, and I have met some people who are religious who would claim that equates or equals atheism. I don't think it does, and obviously Freemasonry considers that a supreme being. So my point is, and this is something I'm grateful for, Freemasonry does define supreme being fairly liberally, which I think is a valid, the right way to go, the right way to approach it. What I think when they say, stupid atheist here, what they really mean, in my opinion, is someone who cannot view anything outside of themselves as being more supreme to them, right? If you believe the entirety of the universe and the world is you and you exclusively, and there's nothing outside of yourself that you can point to, then I would maybe not use the word stupid. I mean, I believe in a being. I just don't believe the being is conscious, right? Like, is conscious, or can, again, the closest example I can use is Thomas Jefferson, right? Thomas Jefferson famously, who's not a Mason, by the way, Thomas Jefferson wrote a Bible, but he removed all of the supernatural elements from the Bible. So it's a much smaller tome. So that's my belief, right? I believe the rational nature of the universe. I don't believe it's aware, or can come down and make, the supernatural qualities. However, the point is, there is definitely something outside of myself and something greater than myself. And I think every Mason has to understand that on some level. Right? So I think what we need, and that's, I think, the value of Freemasonry, right? Again, when you're taking an obligation, you're taking an obligation to something beyond yourself. It's why, for example, it's why I always tell people, a lot of people will say, I don't necessarily believe in a supreme being, and like, I'm not Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Jewish, but I do believe there's something greater than myself out there, or I don't know exactly what I believe, or I'm not sure how to express what I believe. My advice to them is to always, don't prejudge. Still go to the Masonic Lodge, express your interest in joining, and let the lodge decide. When they ask you, do you believe in a supreme being? Let the lodge decide based on how you describe it, what they think. Don't prejudge. Because again, the term supreme being is, as it should be, liberally defined. I don't mean liberal in a political sense. I mean liberal in terms of expansive. Like if you season something liberally, you use an expansive amount of seasoning, right? If a word is defined liberally, it means expansive in meaning. So one more time, I'm going to read this section, then go back to read this section from the Interfaith Harmony Week. A Mason is obliged by his tenure to obey the moral law, and if he rightly understands the art, he will never be a stupid atheist nor an irreligious libertine. But though in ancient times Masons were charged in every country to be of the religion of that country or nation, whatever it was, and what they're saying there is Freemasonry evolved from stonemasonry. Stonemasonry were travelers. They were journeymen who would work in a variety of different countries and nations. As a consequence of that, or as a result of that, they were expressed and understood. Basically, what they were understood to do is, if you're doing work in Morocco, if you're on a job site in England, the Middle East, Spain, wherever, is Jerusalem, whatever it is that you happen to be working as a stonemason, you don't have to become that religion. You're not expected to suddenly become a Muslim or Christian or Jewish, whatever it is, but rather you are to respect the customs and traditions of the religion of the country in which you are working or which you are from, right? And that was amongst, if no other reason, than for economic reasons, right? If you are traveling to, I don't know, a Muslim majority country and you're working on a job site which is Muslim, maybe don't start showing up with, a pork or offering pork to eat to you, or demanding they feed you pork or something, right? Like respect their traditions. It's not just the right thing to do, it's the economically beneficial thing to do. But though in ancient times Masons were charged in every country to be of the religion of that country or nation, whatever it was, yet 'tis now thought more expedient only to oblige them to that religion in which all men agree, leaving their particular opinions to themselves. That is, to be good men and true, or men of honor and honesty, by whatever denominations or persuasions they may be distinguished, whereby Masonry becomes the center of union and the means of conciliating true friendship among persons that must have remained at perpetual distance. So you read that section, and then you read this section. It is hoped that this initiative will provide a focal point or a center of union from which all people of goodwill, or people who are good men and true and men of honor and honesty, can recognize that the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities, otherwise known as saying it can be means of conciliating true friendship among persons that must have remained at a perpetual distance. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate that very much. That's incredibly kind of you. I hope that you are doing well, and thank you for joining. It's really kind to have you here. Yeah, and I mean that, it's amazing, Dad. Looking back on the, it's amazing to think, looking back on the Regius poem, which is the first Masonic document written in English, 1390, the date I recall. it's directed towards stonemasons. But what I thought was so fascinating about that is, again, a big part of the Regius poem, which again was directed towards stonemasons, people who were, the profession, and it was fascinating. A big section was how to act appropriately, how to act correctly during a banquet or a dinner service. The reason being, if you were a stonemason, you were on a job site, you might be working for a lord, a prince, a king, building a castle, building a fort, whatever it might be. You would very likely get invited to a banquet or a dinner service put on by the nobleman, the king, the prince, whatever it might be. A big section is how to act appropriately, how to act correctly, how to be courteous, and how to be respectful of the traditions. If you got a Muslim king, a Jewish king, Christian king, whatever it is, Christian nobleman, prince, they even have a whole section about not getting drunk, reminding the stonemasons, don't have too much wine, don't have too much alcohol. You're representing the craft, you're representing craftsmen. And it just reminds me of, again, one of the things that Freemasonry and stonemasonry as a profession have always emphasized is tolerance, respect for different traditions, different people's beliefs, different people's understandings, and how to be respectful, both in a religious sense as well as in all different traditional traditions and understandings and whatever else it might be. One of the oops. Lily, I'm not sure why I block you. You don't need to be blocked, but okay. Right, and it reminds me a lot. I've talked about this before, and this is a good lesson I mentioned to Freemasons in general. It's something I've struggled with because I don't always do the best at getting along with people. When I was a when I was a when I was in school, I took an archaeology course. And part of the course was we actually went out to an archaeological dig site. We lived there over a summer for 2 months. I think it was actually 3 months. It was in Lauder, Manitoba. And we had to go and dig, we were archaeologists. We had to dig in these little square pits to try to find artifacts. It was really, really fun. But I remember when it came to our grades, 60% of the grade was based on the work that we did in the field and how good we were at being archaeologists. I think if I recall correctly, 10% of it was based on our final report and final paper, but 30% of it, 30% of it was based on how we got along with our fellow archaeologists, our fellow students. Did we do our chores? Because we're living in together. Every student was given a certain chore or certain chores that they were expected to do. We were all given all these different rules, chores to do, clean up, how do we take care of ourselves, etc., etc. 30% of our grade was based on basically interpersonal skills. And the professor, I remember his name was Beverly, which was funny. It was a guy, but his name was Beverly, kind of like a boy named Sue. One of the things that he said is, look, you can be the greatest archaeologist in the world, but if you're a jerk, if you're an asshole, if you don't work well with others on these job sites, no one is going to want to work with you, no matter how good you are going to be. And so you need to actually pay attention to your interpersonal skills as much as how good you are as an archaeologist. Freemasonry is the same way. You can be the greatest mason in the world. You can be the hardest worker. You can have all the work memorized. If you're an asshole, people are not going to want you in the lodge. And you're not going to enjoy Freemasonry, nor are they going to enjoy being around you. Now, some people are naturally more curmudgeon-y. Some people are, nicer. Some people are a little bit more standoffish. All of that's fine. But if you're an asshole, it becomes a very different story, right? And you see that going all the way back to the Regius poem, where so much of the topics in that poem and in that work are not based on how to be a good quote unquote stonemason in a technical sense. It's how to get along with others, how to work well with others. Are you getting drunk and embarrassing yourself and embarrassing the craft? Are you being impolite to the people who are paying your wages, who have hired you for a job? Are you refusing to, be respectful of traditions and cultures and religions? They were smart enough to know, even back then, that if you're going to be a jerk, it's not going to go well for you in a professional sense. And then Freemasonry adopted that in a personal sense, right? If I'm going to, let's say, a Masonic lodge where the majority of membership is Muslim, and I have been to that, those lodges in the past, and I start getting up and telling them, your religion is incorrect, my religion is the correct one, my beliefs are better than your beliefs. What is that going to do to the harmony of that lodge? What is that going to do to the harmony of Freemasonry? And in a larger sense, what is that going to do to the harmony in that community? Freemasonry sends a message. It demonstrates something. It demonstrates that men of all different faiths and beliefs can absolutely, 100% work with others, demonstrate to others that we don't need to all believe in the same thing. And that is something I'm greatly, greatly proud of. And I think it's wonderful that Freemasonry does that. Again, I've been seeing, unfortunately, I've been seeing so very often, even on this stream, people coming in and saying, how can you work with people or be a Mason with people who believe of different faiths? Like, how can a Muslim and a Christian, they never use the terms specifically. What they'll say is different faiths or different beliefs, but they'll say, like, the theory is, how can Muslims and Christians or Jewish people or indigenous people or whatever it is, like, all get along together and all work together? And in some cases, they also bring up politics. How can a liberal and conservative work together? It's like, when I was growing up, it was taken for granted. I remember in school, one of the things we were taught is multiculturalism is good. Different beliefs are okay. You don't have to believe the same thing as the person next to you to get along with them. And I'm a big, big fan of that and a big believer in that. So yeah. I do agree. I mean, I think judgment can also be very challenging. So Samantha, let me know, A, if what I said made sense, B, if you have any questions or thoughts on Freemasonry. Again, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And again, thank you all for being here. If you answered no to this poll question, which most of you have, keep in mind, maybe reconsider if there are things that you can actually do. Hello, Cookies. Who is Patrick Star? Please like and subscribe. I have a question, my friend. I mean, so it's weird saying report to his master. I mean, I'm not saying it's a weird term to use, quote unquote, report. Like, I've been a Freemason for 20 years. I'm currently a worshipful master. I don't think I would ever use the term report to my master. It's a strange term. Having said that, he could be using it. I'm just saying it's a weird way to put it. Every Masonic lodge has what's called a worshipful master. He is the person, it's usually a year term, democratically elected. He's usually the person who's responsible for administering the lodge. So for example, if there's an issue, if there's a problem within the lodge, he's usually the person who has to administer it, make sure the lodge is meeting all of its requirements, is meeting regularly, sending out summonses, sending out notices, all that good jazz. He does it, it's a very, he is responsible for making sure the Masonic processes are followed. So it could just mean going to his Masonic lodge to speak to the worshipful master. for whatever reason. But the master is the person responsible for a lodge. Usually it's a year term, but it can be longer if no one else wants the job. Yeah, I mean, the leader of the group, the leader of the lodge. Cookies, oh, that's the question. I'm a third degree Master Mason, which is the highest degree in Freemasonry. I'm also an 18th degree Scottish Rite Mason. And I'm the Worshipful Master. Good, good. I'm glad you've enjoyed what I've been saying. I hope that, again, maybe giving you some new ideas, some new thoughts on Freemasonry, which maybe you can, are applicable. You can think about. I hope you've learned more about Freemasonry through this. And again, I do these streams every Monday through Friday. President, a good way to put it. 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. So I will be back on at 1 a.m. tonight. I do have a degree I got to go to tonight, a first degree. But yeah. There you go. Except we're not creating problems or challenges like the mafia. We're trying to be good. What is Interfaith Week? Asked Rondo. Interfaith Week is a annual United Nations observance from the 1st of February to the 7th every year. It provides an opportunity for men, basically it's encouraging dialogue, support, respect, and learning about different faiths or between different faiths. It is hoped that Interfaith Week will provide a focal point from which all people of goodwill can recognize that the common values they hold far outweigh the differences they have, and thus provide a strong dosage of peace and harmony to their communities. Nick Morris, can you tell me about the 1717 origin of Freemasonry? And so I'm not sure what you mean by today's story of Solomon's Temple. Do you mean like today's understanding from like an archaeological perspective or historical perspective of what King Solomon's Temple is or was? Or do you mean like today's story and like what Masons think of Solomon's Temple? So at the time it was called the Premier Grand Lodge of England, was formed on June 24th of 1717 at the Goose and Gridiron Tavern in London, England. June 24th is St. John the Baptist Day, hence St. John the Baptist is sometimes considered the patron saint of Freemasonry. It did. I do want to talk about Black History Month as well, Rondo. It was formed when 4 Masonic lodges, if I recall correctly, 3 of them were speculative, as in social clubs. One of them was operative, as in the profession, all gathered together under one banner, the Premier Grand Lodge of England. It was the first time you actually had different Masonic lodges all submitting to a single authority. Before that, you did have Masonic lodges that were both speculative and operative, but they all submitted to like their own authority. They had no group above them that they accepted as being an authoritative figure, if that makes sense, right? It was in 1717 that you actually had 4 lodges agreeing to submit under one authority, which was the United Grand Lodge of England, then called the Premier Grand Lodge of England. The first Grand Master was Anthony Sayer. It's around this time you start to get, for example, the Anderson Constitution and different constitutions. It was formed with just 2 lodges, but it's a way to standardize the work, right? It was the first example of a centralizing force within Freemasonry. However, you need to keep in mind Freemasonry never became fully centralized, and that's its greatest strength. It remains decentralized in terms of a global entity. There is no single global Masonic order or Masonic jurisdiction. There are rather different Masonic orders throughout the world, all all of whom have their own rules and regulations and constitutions. Oops, sorry about that. So, I mean, Freemasonry doesn't have any particular beliefs. It's not a belief system. It's not a religion. It's a civic institution. Solomon's Temple, however, is a metaphorical. It's a metaphorical or symbolical or allegorical feature of Freemasonry. Basically, whether the temple actually existed or not historically, we don't know. I think there's conflicting archaeological evidence, but the story of the temple and its layout and its understanding of the first temple in Jerusalem does provide symbolical or allegorical lessons, as does King Solomon himself. And it makes sense because Freemasonry evolved from stonemasonry. Stonemasonry, right? We're going to look to famous examples of stonemasonry and stone Masonic work when developing our customs and symbols and allegories. The pyramids are a really good example of that because they're a really great example of stonemasonry. So too would be King Solomon's Temple, whether real or allegorical, right? I do want to mention what they say in Freemasonry for Dummies as well, when it comes to Freemasonry and religion. Freemasonry has always been shaped by the countries and societies in which it has existed. But for the most part, since its modern origins in 1717, ancient craft masonry has gone out of its way to be non-sectarian, never promoting one religious belief over another. Here are some of the basics to understanding about religion and Masons. A Masonic lodge meeting is not a religious service. Going to lodge isn't like going to church. No Masonic religion exists. No Masonic God exists, nor does a Masonic devil for that matter. No Masonic Bible is revered above any other. The Freemasons don't have a plan for spiritual salvation. Masonry isn't occult. It doesn't dabble in witchcraft, engage in pagan ceremonies, or encourage the worship of idols. Masonry is not a cult. Freemasonry is an invention of man. It's never claimed to be anything else. Freemasonry, atheists, quote unquote, can't join Masonic lodges, with the exception of very few jurisdictions in Europe, notably France. As a requirement of membership, every candidate must state that he has a belief in a supreme being, but every Freemason is encouraged to worship in his own way, according to his private beliefs and convictions. What he believes and how he worships are his own business. No regular lodge of Masons may be opened without the Bible or other sacred books, holy to its members, opened on its altar. Again, like the grand architect of the universe, Masons refer to the books as a volume of the sacred law, a non-sectarian reference to the lodge's religious tolerance. Depending on what part of the world you're in and beliefs of its members, this sacred book could be the King James Bible, the Hebrew Tanakh, the Quran, the Hindu Veda, Zoroastrian, Proverbs of Confucius. It could also be an eagle feather or an eagle feather, or it could also be a Wiccan like gems or stones. Some of the additional York and Scottish Rite degrees have developed Christian themes, and the York's Rite Knights Templar orders requires a Christian religion. However, that's not Freemasonry as a whole. That is a order within Freemasonry, which I'm okay with. And so there you go as well. I hope that again made sense to you. And I hope everybody is doing well. And thank you all for hanging out. So we're back to just hanging out, answering questions. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know. And yeah, consider doing a super chat, just 99 cents, sharing this stream with others, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, etc., etc. And follow me on social media as well. And again, if I ever have to jump off the stream early, I promise I'll start it up again. I'm just hanging out at the moment. Waiting to see who wants to jump in. Nothing's wrong with baby steps. That's how you do it. That's how we all do it, right? One step at a time um, is the best way to do it. Well, Shadow Titan, I mean, let's not be destroying anybody. I think that's probably for the best. We don't want anybody to be destroyed. However, welcome to my channel. I think you're new. I don't recall your name. So, um, I guess welcome and thank you for being here. What's up, Jason? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you, Samantha, I mean, I appreciate you stopping in once. And yeah, keep on stopping by. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Hey, we're all crawling. We're all slouching toward Bethlehem, which I think is actually, oh, that's from Yates. We're all slouching towards Bethlehem. Jason, how's it going? Thank you for being here also. I hope you're doing well. I hope you'll take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. So, women can be Masons, Jason. They have the Order of Women Freemasons, which is in England, and throughout Ontario as well. There's also Eastern Star. There's also Co-Masonry. I am from Canada, born and raised in Winnipeg. Currently live in Windsor, Ontario. So yeah. Canada, greatest country in the world. I've said that before. Eastern Star as well, yeah. Part of it is because we have the greatest neighbors in the world, but that's for another day. I love visiting the States. I love visiting my Masonic brethren in the States. It's something I take a lot of pride in. Nice. There is Freemasonry in Jordan, actually. A lot of people don't realize that, but there is Freemasonry in Jordan. By the way, I hope, again, you'll hit the like and subscribe button, Shadow, and thank you for being here. A king of Jordan was actually a Freemason. I can't remember the name. Not the current one. Or actually, maybe the current one. Hold on just one sec. Let me double check if I'm right. Current king of Jordan. Oh, Abdullah II. Okay, I don't think him. If I recall correctly, there was one. King of Jordan. I'm just checking Google. I could be wrong. Hussein bin Talal. Okay, there you go. I do like Windsor a lot as well. I think it's very underrated. I've said it a million times. We as Freemasons should absolutely be cheerleaders for our country, for our city, for our communities. I think it's a real, I think it's always a bit of a shame when you see Freemasons maybe not supporting their communities and their countries and their cities. It's one of the reasons why on social media, especially my personal channels, very often I will take the time to if something exciting is happening in the city, there's an event, there's a celebration, there's a whatever it is, maybe a sports, some type of like sports meet, like Windsor's having the international diving competition, I think, here in a couple weeks. I will always do my best to support it and celebrate it. I think it's really important to try to do that. Historical locations as well. Certainly Windsor Masonic Temple is a historical location, but it's one of many. So yeah. We got, Mackenzie Hall is a really cool one. Willisted Manor is a really great one. And not just in Windsor itself, but in the entire Essex County. You want to keep Essex County in mind, right? Leamington has some great stuff. Amherstburg has some incredible stuff. Essex, there's so many cool historical sites all across Windsor. and all across Essex, which is worth exploring. Nice, Dream Seeker. I mean, I will encourage everybody once again to subscribe to Dream Seeker's channel, and I'll see what I can, when it happens, I'll see if I can promote it. Well, I definitely have no idea about that. Although Google does have a ton of information, and for whether it's a good thing or not a good thing, I guess I'll leave it up to you to decide. But Google absolutely has a ton of information about us all. So yeah, that is something that we all kind of have to. I don't know what the word is. I guess we try our best to deal with. I mean, I'm one of those people who my view on it is, look, anything Google happens to know about me is stuff that I've somewhat volunteered somewhere on some social media site. So I can't really be upset if they have a bunch of information about me. We're just hanging out, waiting to see who wants to join, who wants to jump in the chat to say hello. We'll be back on at 1 a.m. tonight. No specific topics tonight, just hanging out, chatting about whatever it is. It's crazy. For whatever reason, my audience is like me. We got way more people on during the night than during the day. I do this for a living, Shadow. I have a Patreon. I have live streams. I have super chats. Help a brother out. Consider giving me a super chat. Just 99 cents. Helps out big time. So find me on Medium as well. All that good jazz. Becoming a YouTube member helps out big time as well. Because I'm part horse. Donna, I don't think I have a long face. Do I look sad? If I do, I'm very sorry. I think I'm doing okay. It's been a great stream. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this. Hasta la vista. I do like that name quite a bit. Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. Be back on at 1 a.m. tonight. I did talk again about Freemasonry and Interfaith Harmony Week 2026, or Interfaith Harmony Week in general, which is a very exciting week-long celebration of different faiths and the common understanding between all of them. Yeah, sure. I love Terminator 2. I think it's a great, great film, great movie. One of the best. Certainly one of the best. I would say without question, one of the best action movies of all time. Got to be a top 5. We usually do, Jason. We usually do. So the fact that we don't is quite nice, but I'm sure they'll be back on tonight. So don't worry. I'm sure they'll be back tonight, and we'll deal with it then. It's like everything else in life. You just deal with things as best as you can. I hope my voice is nice. I'm not a big fan of my voice, but I heard that's actually a psychological thing. I've heard most people don't like the sound of their own voice for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Having said that, I do want to watch or rewatch this movie called Sound of My Voice, which is a great movie about cults, and I think it could be applicable to Freemasonry in the opposite sense, in that people are always accusing us of being a cult. Might as well take some time to show people why we're not. And to do that, we need to know what a cult actually is, first and foremost. It feels that way. It feels like I have to do it all the time, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's one of those things where that's just kind of the way it feels. But, yeah, it's okay. It's good. It's It's work, but that's okay. It's part of the thing you have to do. If you want to um, be on this stream, part of it is you have to deal with some, sorry, shall we say, challenging people. Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, there have been so many different cults, especially in the 70s and 80s. I feel like that was a time, that was like what the Sudanese Liberation Army or the Patty Hearst or whatever it was. Like, I feel like in that time period, there was unfortunately a ton of cults out there. Um, Again, I do know a little bit about the psychology of a cult, of why it's popular, of why people end up falling for them or falling into them, but it's also scary how easily it can be for people to fall into some pretty terrible things. No, Critter 3, it is not. Jason, when you say solid benefits, I mean, I've said this before, but there is no single like universal benefit to being a Freemason. Every Freemason derives his or her exclusive benefits from it, or own benefits from it. For example, one of the benefits I experienced by being a Freemason is it makes me feel closer to my grandfather. He passed away before I was born. Being a Mason makes me feel connected to him in a way that I would not otherwise. Um, you get the potential for like a social safety net. I've known Masons who, were it not for Freemasonry stepping in, would have lost their homes, would have lost their, would have lost their homes, would not know, would, not just them, but their families, like Masons stepping in and helping them with, whatever they needed to keep themselves with shelter, to pay their bills. There's the emotional benefits of just being around people who, you can trust and support and call you brother. There is some evidence that Freemasons on average live 5 years longer than non-Masons in terms of life expectancy in the States, which makes sense because all the evidence shows there are several significant social benefits, or sorry, there are several significant health benefits to those who have a strong social support network, those who are not lonely. Um, if you are lonely, you experience a ton of health risks associated with that. But ultimately, the benefit to being a Freemason is the same as the benefit to going out with your friends on a Friday night. It's being part of something, right? The human desire to be part of something greater than oneself, to be part of a group, to be part of an organization, it is absolutely real. Um, and um, it is absolutely real, and it is absolutely, to not have that fulfilled, to not be able to reach that, to not receive that benefit is something that is challenging, something that can be incredibly harmful for Freemasons and for Freemasonry. Yes, the Shriners it's not called form, it's called dependent bodies. But the Freemasons the Shrine is absolutely an independent body within Freemasonry and a very valuable part of it as well. So we are supposed to be a social being by nature, and if we are not experiencing social benefits, then it's incredibly harmful. And all the evidence shows that the Surgeon General actually did a whole report about the dangers related to being lonely and isolated. Well, I didn't, Lily, but if you want me to block you, I can, but I try not to. I will if people get annoying. Well, I mean, that can happen, and people used to be much more quiet about Freemasonry. Jason, I'm not sure what your age is, so I'm not sure like when your grandfather and father were Freemasons, but I think thankfully we're getting to a point where we're much more open about talking about Freemasonry, as we should be. I think the quietness of it was not the most helpful thing. Hello, Death Stark. What's going on? Brother with three exclamation points. What is happening? Why you got the exclamation points rocking out? What's going on? By the way, we'll be ending this stream in approximately 3 minutes. Um, nice. That's an awesome tradition, Jason. I think that's really cool. I mean, if you want to petition, then more power to you. I'm sure you'd enjoy it very much. At the end of the day, though, the choice is yours. It has to be yours. Oh, I got a bunch of work to do, phone calls to make, personal stuff to deal with. So, um, I mean, I have other YouTube channels, but pretty much my entirety of my side hustles is Freemasonry, quote unquote. So, I have actually a degree tonight. I have a first degree tonight. So, that should be a lot of fun. I love first degrees. Um, don't forget, be back on at 1 a.m. tonight. They'll be back on at 1 p.m. tomorrow, February 3rd. I mean, you don't need to have a mental health issue to not like Freemasonry. A lot of people don't like Freemasonry, and it's unfortunate. I would say, hopefully, um, you know, he gets help and he gets support. And it's a sickness, it's a disease, mental health issues, and hopefully he gets the support that he needs. Um, why do people not like Freemasonry? There's a lot of different reasons. That's honestly a discussion, a whole discussion for another day. Um, what I can say is it's very often or pretty much always based on incorrect information or wrong information that they're getting. So yeah. Well, I have super chats. Hasta la vista. I hope you'll consider doing a super chat, just 99 cents. I have YouTube memberships and I have Patreon. So help out, brother out, and potentially brand or sponsor deals. Well, you should not believe those because we are not henchmen for the Illuminati and we are not part of any grand conspiracy, despite what people may think or may say. That is good, Jason. That is good. Yes, a lot of people, I mean, and I talked about this before, a lot of people, really, in my opinion, for a lot of people, the issue and the problem is they struggle in their own lives. They have challenges, they have issues. And because they struggle with their own lives, instead of dealing with it, looking in the mirror and going, how can I try to deal with this? How can I try to make things better for myself? That's hard work. It's much easier to create an enemy out of, for example, Freemasons, and then spend all your time on the computer posting nonsense about Freemasonry and Freemasons, because it's much easier to do that and create a fake enemy to fight than to actually deal with the real problem in your life, which is almost always yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of people who'd be struggling if not for Freemasons in a variety of ways. Um, Well, that's not true. I mean, I don't have any, I don't have a lot of money, but I have a little bit. Indians are hardworking people trying to make a better life for themselves. Right? And so, but again, this goes back to this idea of, if you are, and it could be that you're not struggling in obvious ways. Like you might have money in the bank, you might be healthy physically, but maybe you have emotional problems, psychological problems, maybe you have substance use issues. And if you are not taking the time to properly deal with those things, um, then yeah, it's easier to find a conspiracy online to deal with because then you don't have to worry about yourself. You can worry about other people and worry about other things outside of your control. Worrying about things outside of your control is actually very often I have found more comforting than worrying about things within your control. Because if you worry about things outside of your control, you have an excuse to not be able to solve them and not be able to deal with them because it's outside of your control. Worrying about stuff within your control is actually harder because you actually don't have any excuses. You have to deal with those things, or you should be. All right, guys, thank you for being here. It's been fun. I'll be back on tonight at 1 a.m. Have an excellent, excellent night, or a day, I should say.